morning, everyone!
Hello, good morning, and we got a jam-packed show for you today, and we are so excited to bring it all here for you. I'm Paolo del Rosario.
Hello, rise and shine, beautiful people. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. As always, we are here to make sure your day starts right with some great energy, good vibes, and inspiration.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. Your mornings are always fun with us. So join us in the next hour for stories and conversations that matter. Just like what Paolo said, we have such a jam-packed show today, so we have to keep our banter a bit short.
Yes, that's right. I don't even know how we can manage the time. We have so many people to talk to because today is such an important day. And we'll be hearing from people across the globe.
Yes, we have lots of interviews from the U.S., so tune in for that because Trump just got inaugurated. So we'll talk to some Filipino Americans and Paolo.
Of course, a lot of Filipino Americans are going to be talking to talk about, syempre, kung paano sila maapektuhan ni returning President Donald Trump. And of course, syempre, we're also going to talk about yung mga travel goals natin this year.
Yeah, so exciting. We won't mention who, but you have to stay tuned to watch.
Well, since we're talking about travel, siguro alam nyo na yan. She's been making the rounds all over, all over the TV space, and we cannot wait to talk about her soon. But first and foremost, let's talk about how the weather is going this time around today all over the Philippines. Now, Pag-asa says the northeast monsoon is affecting Luzon, and we can expect cloudy skies with chances of light rains. The shear line, or the meeting of the cold and warm winds, is affecting the eastern sections of the Visayas. Northern and eastern Samar can look forward to some scattered rains and isolated thunderstorms. Meanwhile, the rest of the country can expect some isolated rains and possible humid conditions due to the easterlies. Forecasters say the country remains storm-free as sunset is set at 5:50 p.m. Tune later to Weather HQ at 9 a.m. only here on BNC, the Billionaire News Channel, where we give you the weather, whatever the weather.
Now, I hope you guys gassed up last night or yesterday because a big-time price hike in fuel prices greets motorists at the pump today. Diesel prices soaring by almost 3 pesos a liter. Kerosene prices are up by 2 pesos and 50 centavos a liter. And per liter rates of gasoline increasing by 1 peso and 65 centavos. This is the year's third straight fuel price hike. The Energy Department cited the OPEC production cut, along with the U.S. and U.K. sanctions on Russian oil, as reasons behind the big-time price increase.
U.S. President Donald Trump marks his return to power with a pledge to rescue America from what he described as years of betrayal and decline. He said he'll prioritize a crackdown on illegal immigration, portraying himself as a national savior chosen by God. His speech echoed many of themes from his first inauguration speech in 2017 about crime and job loss. Trump, 78, took oath for office inside the U.S. Capitol, 1 a.m. in Philippine time.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
We have a lot more here on It's a Beautiful Day. When we return, don't go away.
Several hundred people gathered in Washington, D.C., protesting a wide range of issues as U.S. President Donald Trump was sworn into office. The protesters, braving icy conditions, expressed concerns spanning environmental issues, LGBTQ rights, immigration, race relations, and pro-Palestinian rights. Many pointed out that the inauguration coincided with Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a holiday honoring the civil rights leader. An incoming White House official announced that Trump plans to issue an executive order curtailing diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs, stating that the U.S. federal government will only recognize two sexes, male and female.
We didn't want to be part of the masses that were coming here to celebrate like evil and division, you know. It was a little harsh to call people evil. Obviously, not all conservatives are evil, but you know, there's a lot of hate, and there's just a lot of values that they hold that they are trying to turn into like rallying cries for like fascists and racists and whatnot. It's like they're taking all the resentment that they have and they're turning pain into a virtue. They're turning other people's pain into virtue. For them, they're celebrating other people suffering, you know, and they take pride in that. So it's important for us to come out here to kind of stand against that and be with, you know, community of people who care about the pain people are going through instead of reveling in it.
Because America, in its desperation to maintain itself, is, how do we say, the American empire is falling, and they're trying to maintain a system of inequity. This is not a homogeneous nation, it's a racist nation, and they're trying to maintain that system of inequity.
I'm still fired up. I feel like we can get a little bogged down and apathetic, but being surrounded by people who are also fired up to, you know, fight the climate crisis, end war, I think that was really important to me, to be kind of surrounded by people like that.
Former U.S. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill Biden departed from Joint Base Andrews for his final presidential flight following the 2025 presidential inauguration. Before boarding Air Force One, Biden addressed the crowd with a heartfelt farewell, saying, quote, "Never give up, never. We may be leaving office, but we are not leaving the fight."
Meanwhile, Trump had a different message in his post-inauguration speech. Speaking to his supporters in another part of the Capitol, Trump promised action to defendants charged in the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol attack. Trump also criticized preemptive pardons that former President Biden issued before leaving office, including some Joint Chiefs of Staff, the committee that investigated the Capitol attack, former Representative Liz Cheney, as well as COVID-19 White House Chief Medical Advisor Anthony Fauci.
Back here at home, the Makabayan bloc urges the Marcos administration to come up with an independent foreign policy. They say it may cause uncertainty to nearly 4 million Filipino Americans after U.S. President Trump's promise to enforce stricter anti-immigration policies. There are about 309,000 undocumented Filipinos in the U.S. who may be deported when Trump assumes office. They also criticize Trump's second presidency, which they describe as a threat to the country's peace and sovereignty.
Isang madman's foreign policy ang punto de vista ni Trump. Isa siyang expansionist dahil sa ilalim ng kanyang US first policy ay gagawin niya ang lahat para siya ay makinabang 10 ng pagkontrol sa ekonomiya ng mas maliit na bansa. Kasama na ang pagpapanawak ng kanyang mga neokolonya.
Move on to some lighter news over in sports. In motorsports, Formula One superstar Lewis Hamilton begins a new chapter with Ferrari. The 7-time F1 world champion visited the team's headquarters in Maranello, Italy for his first official day. It's been almost a year since Hamilton announced his shock decision to leave Mercedes, where he won 6 of his 7 world titles. The British racing icon says he is happy to finally realize his dream of racing in red. Hamilton will team up with Charles Leclerc in Ferrari as they aim to end the team's 18-year driver's title drought. The 2025 Formula One season begins with the Australian Grand Prix in March.
Gordon Ramsay gets the Rockstar treatment as the British culinary icon experiences a thriller in Manila. The multi-Michelin-starred chef was greeted with cheers and excitement from his Filipino fans Monday as he was introduced during an event in Pasay. Before that, Ramsay was seen huddling with the staff of his namesake bar and grill on Sunday. Instead of his fiery Hell's Kitchen persona, Gordon was amiable towards his staff. He also accommodated and even spoke with some lucky customers who had a once-in-a-lifetime dining experience.
Now, what happens if you put beef Wellington in lumpia wrappers? Well, the answer, a Gordon Ramsay-approved dish. Filipino food content creator Abby Marquez, aka the Lumpia Queen, had a collab with Gordon in time for the celebrity chef's visit to the country. This after Gordon challenged Abby online to turn his signature dish into a lumpia. Watch this.
I went to Chef Ramsay's restaurant in Manila, and one of the chefs saw the comment and offered to help me out.
This is very interesting. I don't know how it's going to go down. Good luck to you.
Good luck to me. Now there's one thing left to do. Chef.
Hey, Abby!
You know me?
Do I know you? The whole internet knows you. Can you do it?
I am here with the proof. Question is this better than yours? Oh, I
Visually, wow, that looks good. It's very good. Lumpia.
Lumpia.
And listen, I'm really sorry, but I don't like it. I f***ing love it! That is a very, very posh spring roll. Delicious. May I have some more, please? I'm taking this away so no one can steal it. A glass of wine with my lumpia.
All right, we are so happy for Abby Marquez as she finally manifests her dream collab with the one and only Gordon Ramsay. Now, take a look at this. It was about 2 weeks ago when Abby posted this picture of her posing with Gordon's portrait at his namesake bar and grill. Fast forward to this week, here's Abby and Gordon together at last as they reenact the chef's idiot sandwich pose. We can't help but feel invested as we feel like we somehow helped Abby turn this vision into reality. Let's revisit the pray over, that famous pray over that we did with Abby on the show when she guested here last November. Let's all hold hands and pray for this moment.
Okay,
all right,
I'm
Abby,
ready.
who do you want to work with?
Lord, mag-collab kami sana ni Gordon Ramsay.
We make dreams come true.
We do.
We make dreams come true.
Not only do we make dreams come true, they also win pageants. Well, I guess it's still technically a dream, but still, whoever guests on our show, whatever you guys want, we got you. You got to manifest it here.
This was what I have been telling you, Pao and Mo, that manifestation works. That's why I never stop manifesting. Thank you in advance. For all those who would like to let
si
you
Anne.
Wala pang ticket si Anne.
Nauna pa si Gordon Ramsay.
I am not giving up, di ba?
Not even local tickets. Gordon has to fly all the way.
She's been asking for tickets forever.
It's okay. Just keep manifesting. One day.
It'll happen. And if it does, oh my
To
goodness.
be fair, siya lang yung pray-over natin.
Yeah.
Actually,
Siya lang.
we should start praying
Oo,
over.
dapat may prayer circle tayo
Okay, we'll pray over
every time.
later.
Sige, but wishes do come true on this show. But you know what, guys? It's not only Abby Marquez who's on cloud 9 after meeting the Gordon Ramsay. Award-winning actress and fresh culinary school graduate Judian Santos says it was a surreal experience meeting the acclaimed celebrity chef. On Instagram, Judian said never in her wildest dreams that she pictured this would happen in her lifetime. She adds, participating in Gordon's mini cooking challenge was the fastest, most nerve-wracking 10 minutes of her life. Judian adds she is so grateful for the experience. Top food content creator Ninong Rai was also part of the challenge to whip up a halo-halo for Gordon. He captioned his Instagram post with, Ninong Rai, binigyan ng diabetes si Gordon Ramsay.
Now, when we return, we check on the sentiments of the Filipino-American community as Donald Trump makes his return to the White House as U.S. president. That discussion live after the break. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. One of our top stories, Donald Trump returning to the White House as U.S. president. We'll speak with Voice of America correspondent Chris Casquejo to give us updates live from Washington, D.C. Good evening over there, Chris, and good morning over here.
Good evening from Washington, D.C. Cold Washington, D.C., I might add.
So how is D.C. looking so far moments after the inauguration?
Yeah, the inauguration is, the parade is taking place right now, and Donald Trump is actually speaking right now. But he took the oath of office at 12:01 p.m. this afternoon, and the themes of his inaugural speech, he took aim at the outgoing administration's immigration policy, and he said that he has a mandate to give people their faith, their wealth, and their democracy back. And he also said that the assassination attempt was that he was saved by God to make America great again. And then he also went on to say in closing that in America, impossible is what we do best.
Chris, you mentioned a while ago that one of the themes was the immigration policy of the past administration. Of course, there is a big Filipino immigrant community there in Washington, D.C., in the United States in general. Is there any sentiment that you have felt from the Filipino immigrant community given the words spoken by President Trump?
Yeah, there are 4.2 million Filipino immigrants, and though estimates vary by the Census Bureau, the Migration Policy Institute and the Pew Institute suggest that more than 300,000 of them are undocumented. And for decades, a lot of these Filipinos have worked in very low-wage jobs and under-the-table jobs like caregivers and housekeepers. And they are some of those who have jumped ship for better opportunities. And they are actually very worried about the immigration policy and the mass deportations that he has promised to carry out.
Chris, can you tell us, what is the climate in the immigrant community right now with regard to Trump's sweeping immigration policies?
Right. In the Filipino community, it's split. You have the conservative Filipinos who have been here for generations who actually support Donald Trump and closing the southern border. But then you have the newer undocumented immigrants who have not been here as long, and they're really worried about what's going to happen with this immigration policy. And the Philippine ambassador to the U.S., Jose Romualdez, has actually told them to leave the United States because once you're deported, you can't come back.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think the Philippines and the U.S. relations could be affected by Trump's presidency?
Well, we expect Trump to continue a very warm relationship with the Philippines because of what's happening in the West Philippine Sea. The Biden administration has been very clear that it supports freedom of navigation in the West Philippine Sea. And the Trump administration is expected to continue that policy of supporting the Filipinos and, with the EDCA bases and modernizing the bases that are facing the West Philippine Sea and Taiwan. But Trump has made a part of his campaign that's really popular with his base that countries should pay their fair share, like South Korea with the Special Measures Agreement that houses U.S. forces there, and the NATO allies who, weren't spending as much on defense as Trump wanted. But he curiously has not said this about the Philippines. So, they expect that kind of hands-off approach to continue because of what's happening with Chinese aggression in the West Philippine Sea.
Well, that definitely will be an issue that we will be monitoring all throughout the early days of the Trump presidency. But of course, another big talking point with regard to the presidency of Donald Trump is what has happened actually when it comes to big tech, particularly TikTok and different social media companies. A lot of the CEOs actually making their presence felt with the Trump inauguration. What news do we have from big tech and President Donald Trump, especially with the return of TikTok in the United States and, of course, with Meta actually making their presence felt with Mark Zuckerberg being very ever present in the Trump camp?
Yeah, and you saw that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, Tim Cook, they actually had better seats at the inauguration ceremony than Trump's incoming cabinet members. So that signifies that, you know, they are on board with Trump, and basically that they don't want this Republican administration and the Republican Congress to regulate them the way that the past Democrat administration did, you know, with wanting to limit Section 230 of the Internet Code so that they were responsible for a lot of the content, the harmful content that some argue is on their platforms. So we'll see what happens with TikTok. You know, it's back online here in the U.S. after it went dark this weekend, and Trump says he wants to pause the forcing of its sale by its Chinese parent company by 90 days. But whether he has the power to do that is up for debate, because some of the Republican congressmen, Congress people who supported that, who signed on to that law or helped pass that law, you know, don't agree with Trump wanting to pause the ban on TikTok. So we'll have to see how that all plays out, you know, and what happens with big tech and the regulations. I mean, we have AI that's growing, and, you know, tech CEOs do not want that much regulation of AI either. So there's a lot of things that we'll be watching as this administration gets underway.
Thank you so much, Chris. I know it's been such a busy day, and we really appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with us this morning. Everybody, VOA correspondent Chris Casquejo.
Now, we have got an exciting guest coming up next. We will catch up with Kach Umandap, the youngest Filipina to visit all 193 UN member countries with a Philippine passport. #travel goals. Let's get inside her colorful worldview shortly after the break. Plus, get some travel tips straight from the expert herself. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, this 36-year-old Filipina digital nomad had one mission: travel all 193 UN member countries. And she did it, becoming the youngest to do so with a Philippine passport. Kach Umandap has lots of stories to tell from her journey across the globe, and she tells us some this morning, live via Zoom, all the way from Palawan. It's a beautiful day, Kach. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Monique. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Actually, I'm Anne. This is Monique, and this is
Anne.
Paolo.
Okay.
Yes. It's okay, don't worry. But you know what, Kach? It is such an interesting story what you're going to share with us. It took you 12 years to complete all 193 countries from May 2013 to January 2025. Now, can you tell us, how was that 12 years like, you know? And paano ba to nagsimula, you know? And did it also feel, as you traveled, did it feel like uprooting your life?
Yeah, I actually started like full-time. Like I left the Philippines when I was 20. That was 2009 after I finished uni. And then 2013, that's when I decided that, okay, I have 4 years of savings that I was initially intending to use for my tuition fee if I'm going to enter law school. But in 2013, I was 24. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a 6-month sabbatical, like sabbatical from career or anything. And then I decided to go backpacking. Would you believe that my first backpacking trip, I was with my sister and my brother? Like, they were like 22 and 20 years old. And then since then, I decided, like, I was just like thinking how I can sustain the lifestyle without going back to corporate job. And my initial plan at the beginning was just to circumnavigate, you know, like go from Asia to like just to circumnavigate the globe. And then later on, I ended up like having a goal of, okay, I'm going to visit the 7 continents. okay, I'm gonna get like 200 countries. And then when I was 29, that was in 2017, I was like, okay, I'm going to visit every country in the world. But it's going to be more difficult because, like for Filipinos, we are required to get visa to 125 countries. So that thing took me like to visit the 95, it took me another 6, 7 years. It is exciting. I live on a sailboat for 2 years to travel entire Caribbean. I was backpacker, but now I have a suitcase. I've leveled up. And like at the beginning, I was like, like volunteering just to sustain the travels, like finding Filipinos who's gonna adapt me and feed me. And then to later on, like, starting my own like businesses online.
Now, Kach, I also backpacked like you, but I think my goal was not as big as you. I just wanted to backpack Asia. But how was it? And you mentioned earlier getting visas, right? And I know it's really hard for Filipinos to get visas. Did you go through a travel agency? Did you do it yourself? And were you denied any visas when you were applying to all these countries?
At the beginning, I did everything on my own, like because like my previous job was in quality assurance, and I'm really good with writing letters, papers. I'm a little bit like OCD when it comes to this documentation. Even if I have more experience, I did it. And then eventually, I started to earn money from travel blogging. I ended up like having a team. Like can't really do it on my own. Like I have like 4 people who's like helping me, like like contacting who's embassy, because for us to apply for visa, like there are a few things that we need to know. Like we need show money, but like the problem was like the show money, we have to spend the show money to apply for the invitation letter from the people like living in that country. And for you to be granted an invitation letter, you need to have a friend or you need to pay an agency. And usually to pay an agency, you have to book a tour, you have to do those things. And what really helped me was like my travel blogging career, because like I ended up like working with tourism boards. Like I ended up like, instead of like just finding a friend, I ended up like just like if you dream, you need to dream bigger. So I ended up like contacting like their department, like Ministry of Tourism or their Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I tell them like, this is me, this is my plan. And if I don't find the official government, like I find the biggest travel agencies, like, would you like to collab? And at the beginning, it really worked. It helped me in Europe. It helped me in other destinations. But in Africa, that they don't have the budget for themselves. Why spend money on me, right? So that became the most difficult part of traveling.
Yeah, I can only imagine, of course, syempre the whole travel blogging, travel content creation, I'm sure really helped you, as you mentioned a while ago. But was there ever a moment na nagising ka and you're wondering, saan na ba ako? Anong bansa na ako? And of course, when you take a look at that, how did you maintain siguro yung connection mo dito sa Pilipinas, going through all your travels? Because I can only imagine that home was wherever you were at that moment.
Yeah, but like to be honest, like I'm more strategic when it comes, because it costs money, like it costs time, money,
Yes.
and like your what they did, the time when I was finishing the entire Caribbean and South America and Central America, I was trying to base in a place where we Filipinos could stay up to 6 months or like 2 months, because we need to get the visa.
Yeah.
So I stayed in Colombia. I stayed in Bogota to when I was like trying to finish all like Central America and South America. And then when I was like visiting countries in Europe, I tried to base in Montenegro, where you could get like 1 year residency.
Oh,
Like
okay.
just like I set up like an online business, and like like so I could apply for visa while I was there. And then I came back to the Philippines when I was trying to accomplish all of the countries in the Pacific, because it's easier and cheaper to fly from here. So how I was doing it, I was tackling each destination per region. So like for example, last year I did Central Africa and South Africa, and to complete my Europe and Asian country, because I visited entire Europe, but I couldn't enter Belarus. It took a while to enter Belarus.
Yeah.
I couldn't enter Syria for 2 years, and that was my last Asian country. So how I did at the beginning of my travels, like I only visited visa-free countries. And then afterwards, like that I have, would you believe, like only had a USA visa after I visited 30 countries. And
Wow.
just to make sure I didn't want to get like she asked me earlier if I have visa rejection. I never got denied a visa, but I got refused an application. For example, like in Syria, they won't accept my application, but they won't deny me, but they just won't accept it. And in Sudan, they won't like because there are like few protocols and rules. But as I've said, like this has been a big mission for me. Like it costs so much money, it costs so much time, and even before I go to a new country, I planned it. Like I planned my year like in advance. Like usually, only this time that I can relax because usually this time of the year I am planning already what I'm gonna do the entire year.
Kach, in previous interviews, you've highlighted the advantage of Filipinos, no? Yung communication skills natin, maganda, right? And you've also highlighted the importance of this while traveling. Can you recall some moments where being a good communicator actually helped you in your travels?
Yeah, many times at the immigration. Like, I don't know if it's like a skill already, but like, even prior to going to the immigration line, I would already observe the immigration official. Like, I would know, like, shall I act like I am like a boss, like, a boss lady, or shall I act like an innocent girl? But, as Filipinos, like, we speak English, and it's not about speaking or like being fluent in a language, but like, I think we have this certain charm as Filipinos. We're sweet. So it really helped me many times, and like plenty of times that I got lost in places or like got confused. But prior to arrival, I tried to find if there are Filipinos because I really usually find like look for Filipinos in a city or in a country because usually they'd adopt me, they'd tour me, but I'd bring them Mamacita's chocnuts, sinigang mix. I'd always carry something that they couldn't find, like abroad. These things are big deal, and I'd always have a supply that I'd give these people.
Yeah, Kat, sorry, I hate to cut you off there, pero syempre, you mentioned Filipinos, you giving them a slice of home. And first of all, I just wanted to say, uy, sweet pala tayo, guys. Sweet pala yung mga Pinoy.
So sweet.
Pero Kat, all joking aside, is there a place or a country that nagulat ka, uy, may Pinoy dito, may kabayan pala tayo dito?
Yeah, I went to Tuvalu. Tuvalu is the only way you can go to Tuvalu is to fly in one airport in Nadi, Fiji. The only way you could go there. And for us Filipino to go to Fiji, you have to fly from Manila to Australia, but you need a visa, or Manila, Singapore. And then I went to Tuvalu. I went to the capital, but like then there are like villages in the so I was just like, like I was hitchhiking on a motorbike. And then I went there and they told me like, oh, there's a Cebuana here. There's like a girl from Cebu. I was like, really? There's like a small village and there's a Filipina. And then when I went to Djibouti, because I was trying to go to Somalia from Djibouti, there's a Filipina who messaged me, but like until now she's a friend and I visited her in Senegal. Like,
wow.
And even when I went to Antarctica, like all of the crew in that cruise ship in Hurtigruten are all Filipinos. I was eating adobo while I was in Antarctica.
Wow.
Like we Filipinos are really everywhere. And that's what I realized. Like, and most of the time, these Filipinos who went abroad, they struggled in life in the Philippines. And then they had a better life there. And they're so generous. So I love it. So I'm like...
Better life sa Antarctica, no?
I know, right? We should totally visit and have adobo in Antarctica, a different experience. But Kach, I'm sure you've inspired so many people with your story coming out, us especially. You recommend being a digital nomad. What are your tips and tricks for people who want to start doing that and who want to start traveling countries like you and make money out of that? That's the key, make money.
Yeah, I was like telling people in my previous interview that you only need 3 things. Like if you want to really travel full time, you need time, money, and like good health. And being a digital nomad really helped me because you just need an internet. You're not going to those get rich scheme, huh? Like there's no shortcut in life. But what is digital nomad like lifestyle? It's like as long as you have internet, you can work anywhere, anytime you want. As long as you find employers. You know, in the Philippines, we had a big trend before of call centers, right? Like everyone is just working in customer service. What I was like trying to tell people was like invest in skills, like learn new language, learn like improve your AI skills, improve like editing videos, writing SEO or anything. Because even if we Filipinos if you're entrepreneurial, then start your online venture. But if you're not, we Filipinos are like the best, most organized people, like that Americans, Australians, Canadians would like to have as their customer service or assistant. And like if you could like start working while like if you can work from home, finding employers, you could find it on LinkedIn, Upwork, there's different platforms, and just learn the platforms that these people are using. And then after that, you can just, like negotiate with your employer where you could work. Like you could tell them like, oh, I'm gonna be in Turkey for this week. I'll work 8 to 5 p.m. Istanbul time. And I think like being a digital nomad, as long as you have enough skills that you're all the time like upskilling, because technology is changing as fast. Like if before I was using different platforms, now I just use ChatGPT could create so many things for me. And yeah, this is like this is the future. I'm not saying it is now, but if everyone wants to transition, just start with the hybrid. You go to the office, then half of the time work at home, and then eventually, like if you're able to establish it with your employer or your business, then work anywhere you want.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Digital nomad Kach Umandap, the youngest Filipina to travel all 193 countries across the globe. Great job, Kach. Thank you for your time.
Well, let's go back to the top. We'll be joined via Zoom by some Filipinos in the U.S. to share what they think about Trump 2.0. Let's welcome to the show Katrina Arcellana, Michelle Amor, Louie Anquillo, Ralph Garay, and Gerald Poblete.
All right, so of course we're going to talk to them in just a bit, but again, a lot of our kababayans over in the States, obviously very much affected by President Trump coming in. Of course, kahit dito sa Pilipinas, apektado tayo.
Yep.
But of course, we want to see how they feel and of course, how they feel they would be affected by the second Trump administration.
Right.
So first off, let's get started actually here because we have a lot to go through and not a lot of time to go through it. Mo, you were able to talk to a few of them a while ago?
Yeah, so I think we're going to start with Gerald. So Gerald, can you tell us, what are your sentiments? How are you feeling as President Donald Trump is back in the White House?
Well, hello, Mo. Thank you for having me. I can tell you that I personally, on the night of his election, I was shocked. I had no expectation he would win. I was relieved that he did win and that the former administration could not continue. I'm excited that he's back and that he can right the ship, and I'm just hopeful that he's going to do it in a more diplomatic way, in a more measured way. And I think we've seen him already starting to do that. I think it's going to be a very different presidency, but again, hopefully a very effective presidency.
And how do you think you'll be affected as a Filipino American with Trump being back in office?
I mean, I'm an American. Whether I'm a Filipino American, an African American, we're Americans. He is America first. So it's a positive thing for me. He has a tremendous track record for his domestic policy, the best foreign policy president we've had, and I can't even remember. And I'm very hopeful. You have to make a distinction. There was some comments earlier about how the Filipino immigrants might have an issue with this sweeping immigration reform. Let's make the distinction between immigrants like myself, legal immigrants, and the illegal immigrants who've been allowed to flood across our border because of the past administration. Trump has no issue with legal immigration. His wife is a legal immigrant. All of his wives, I think, or at least most of them have been, right? So there's a distinction there to be made.
Yeah, sorry, I had to cut you off there because we have to get to everyone here. Katrina, obviously, it was mentioned a while ago, trying to be a more diplomatic here in the second presidency. Obviously, we all know what happened in that first presidency, wherein there was a bit of a divide between the two support groups of whether you be left-leaning or right-leaning. Katrina, how do you feel about the idea of a more diplomatic second term here for President Trump?
I think that personally it would be very difficult to have a very neutral and diplomatic presidency, as Trump has expressed his opinions in very extreme ways towards very hostile takes on many different minority demographics in the U.S. Personally, I think I feel like discouraged with this new administration and a little fearful, actually, because I really saw representation for myself in Harris, and I had some hope for seeing a woman of color who is South Asian and Black to lead our country and be a very peaceful and trying to be a diplomatic voice in politics. I know that when people were talking to Harris about if she would have a Republican on her cabinet, that's something that she was open to, and I just don't see that side of kind of same openness and humility in the Trump administration. So I think that's going to be a little bit difficult in this next administration, and something that personally I am very fearful of.
Thank you, Katrina. I'd like to hear Ralph's thoughts, his sentiments. How do you think that you will be affected by Trump's presidency?
Thank you so much, Mo, for having me. And in the last 4 years, I felt like I was really burdened with inflation, and me and my wife love shopping at Walmart. But, you know, we just felt like the prices in Walmart, that's Walmart, right? That's Walmart. And it's so hard and very difficult. And also, I love eating in restaurants to try different food. And now we are forced to start cutting eating out. And because, the price just went up. And also, I'm saddened with the crime in San Francisco, in New York. I got friends who got robbed in San Francisco. And I love these cities. But I can't believe I'm telling myself and also other friends, don't go to San Francisco, don't go to New York. And I can't believe that I'm telling that to myself. But this is historic. And I'm glad to be part of it, that President Trump is back, and to see it, to experience it. And I'm optimistic that he learned so much in his first 4 years. And then the last 4 years, try processing a lot of things. So I'm just optimistic, and there's a momentum here. Finally, I feel like we have a strong, respected leader.
That's interesting there. Michelle, I want to get your thoughts on this, because obviously some of the issues brought about by the two gentlemen a while ago were a bit practical with regard to the prices when it comes to food, to spending, even safety in some areas. Of course, contrast that with what Katrina said, talking about being fearful because of the lack of representation and potential lack of bipartisanship. You take a look at all of that, Michelle. What are your biggest issues that you feel that President Donald Trump could either address or exacerbate in the upcoming administration?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Michelle. I'm the vice president of the Filipino American Democratic Club of New York, and I was the communications chair for Filipino Americans for Harris. And we saw how harmful Trump's rhetoric was the first time around. We really saw how his comments, his racist comments during COVID-19 really impacted us, and we saw a huge rise in anti-Asian hate crimes. And many Filipino Americans felt the impact, especially here in New York, where so many Filipino healthcare workers are at the front line. So, I am cautious to see, since we saw what it was like the first time around, and divisive leadership from the top, actually puts lives at risk. So, Filipino Americans contribute so much to this country, and we deserve leadership that encourages us to participate in our democracy and makes us feel welcome and not targeted. So, I hope to see that this administration is going to focus more on actually coalition building and not dividing us, and we just have to see and try to keep them accountable.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your answer. Now moving on to the last one. Louie, you heard everybody speak. What are your thoughts, expectations with the new administration coming in?
Hi, thank you for welcoming me. My name is Louie Anquillo. I'm a physician here, and with what's going on, the only thing that really concerns me as much as everybody else is that health. We've gone through COVID, wherein he was the president, but at the same time, we've gone through a lot, and it has been divisive as well as to if we're going to be looking into other treatment plans or not. So for me, my main concern is believe and look into the science and what is evidence-based when we are treating epidemic and everything like that. And we are seeing something that's coming up, and I hope we are ready. Healthcare, and we Filipinos have been in all areas of healthcare. And we are frontline right now. I'm in urgent care, I'm in the ER, and we are varied in terms of how we treat patients at the moment. But we supposed to be following what could be the science related and evidence based that we looked into. So for my perspective, we're ready. I mean, Filipino Americans are resilient, but we like to make sure that we are having some, how do you say this? Courage to be in that area for which it is the science that we're banking on treating patients. So I'm in the healthcare profession, and I like to make sure that whoever's leading the country for healthcare right now is going to be science-based. That's the only thing I'm worried about, because you can have America is a melting pot for all the information that you can get. We have everything from Google to wherever, but coming to the bottom line of this, we as healthcare are the professionals.
Louie,
and I think
we really
should be
appreciate
looking
you.
into it.
Louie, really appreciate you for
Yeah,
that.
no,
And of
thank you.
course, we wish we had more time with all of you. We apologize for technical
That's all right.
difficulties having you on a while ago. Hopefully we get to talk to you again really soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you.
morning. Katrina, Michelle, Louie, Ralph, and Gerald, we really appreciate you guys coming on the show.
And that's it
Thank you
for
so
us
much. Thank you.
today,
Thank
January
you.
21. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm Anne Asis-Carilo. Thank you so much for making us your daily morning habit. Wherever this day takes you, don't forget to choose joy, spread kindness, and bring your own sunshine.
And I'm Monique Tuzon. Join us again tomorrow at 7 a.m. only here on
It's a Beautiful Day.